Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. Rhea Mangado po ulit. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the ABM lessons for the ABM specialized subjects, which is the business math. So for those na magsi-senior high na po, ayan, ang business math po is only one of the specialized subject in ABM strand in senior high school. Kapag ABM strand po ang inyong kinuha. So, once again, this is ABM lesson for business math. So, our subject for today is business math. Now, this course will provide an understanding of the basic concepts of mathematics as applied in business. It includes a review of the fundamental mathematics operations using decimals, fractions, percent, ratio and proportion, mathematics concepts and skills in buying and selling, computing gross and net earnings, overtime and business data presentation, analysis, and interpretation. So for the content po, ito po yung topic or lesson na tinuturo ni teacher or pinag-uusapan sa subject na ito. And the competency naman po, ito naman po yung kailangan mong gawin, kailangan ni student gawin for them or for you to pass the subject. Okay? So for the first topic po, it's about fundamental operations on fractions, decimals, and percentage. So, under po ni fundamentals operations on fractions, decimals, and percentage, ayan, itatakal po dito ang perform fundamental operations on fractions and decimals, express fractions to decimals and percent and vice versa. Ayan. And then illustrate how decimals and fractions can be written in terms of percent. And then give real-life situations to illustrate fractions, decimals, and percent. And then solve problems involving fractions, decimals, and percent. So mostly po, as you can remember, tinakal na po ito nung tayong mga nasa elementary pa lang. So magiging parang recap or review lang po ito sa inyo, itong about fractions, decimals, and percentage. Okay? And then the next content for lesson is the ratio and proportion. So under this, you will be going to identify the ratio and proportion. And then write proportions, illustrating real-life situations. And then identify the different kinds of proportion and give examples for each. And then solve problems involving direct, inverse, and partitive proportion. Ayan, so natakal na rin to way back. Hindi ko lang ma-remember kung high school days or elementary days also. Ayan. And the next lesson or content is buying and selling. So under this, you will differentiate mark on, mark down, and mark up. And then you will be illustrate how mark on, mark down, and mark up are obtained. Describe how gross margins is used in sales. Differentiate profit from loss. And then illustrate how profit is obtained and how to avoid loss in a given transaction. And then under po uli pa ni buying and selling, you will going to define break even and then illustrate how to determine the break even point and then solve problems involving buying and selling products and then illustrate how interest is computed specifically as applied to mortgage, amortization, and on services, utilities, and on deposits and loans. And then illustrate the different types of commissions and solve problems involving interest and commission. So medyo mahaba po ang topic ng buying and selling. Okay? And then the next content is the salaries and wages. In this, you will define the salary, the wage, and also the income, and also the benefits. And then after that, you will compute gross and net earnings. And then you will enumerate the benefits of a wage earners. And also, you will be distinguish taxable from non-taxable benefits. And you will also enumerate the standard deductions with the corresponding computation and identify the variables needed in the computation of the overtime. So under Paulini salaries and wages, you will compute overtime pay, and then you will use spreadsheet in the computation of salary and overtime pay. And last is present graphical representation of the details or particulars of the salary. And then the last topic or content in this subject, you will be able to the presentation and analysis of business data. So you will be able to show samples of business data and then compare the forms textual, tabular, and graphical of data. And then you will be able to identify the essential parts of a table and draw the table to present the data, and then analyze and interprets the data presented in the table using measures of central tendency and variability and tests of significant differences. And then under Paulini, presentation and analysis of business data, you will describe the different kinds of graphs for data presentation. And you will be describe the essential parts of a graph, and then you will give a set of business data, identify the graphs to be used, and then analyze and interpret the data presented in a graph or table, and you will use software like MS Excel programs to compute and present graphical representation of business data. Usually kasi ang ginagamit natin is Microsoft Excel para po automatic nagsa-sum up or nagko-compute, kasi doon po sa Excel pwede tayong gumamit ng mga mathematical way para mas mapadali po yung buhay nyo. Ganon. And then, so those are the lessons or content that the teacher will discuss to you, and of course, those are the competency or the things that the student must do or understand for that subject para po makapasa kayo ng subject na yun. So basically, yung business math in ABM strand is more on ano lang siya, business, it's a mathematical, ano lang, basic mathematical, wala siya yung yung medyo mahihirap na math chuchu. So, for those na mag-enroll in an ABM strand, ayan, good luck. For those senior high school student, ayan, so basically, those grade 10 graduating, and then, syempre, magsa-senior high na by the, next pasukan, this coming August ata. So, kailangan po isipin nyo kung what strand are you going to take. Okay? Ayan. So, once again, this is Rhea Mangado. Thank you po for listening, and see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.